everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to go back to something that we started the channel with way back when we first started, funnily enough, and that was the Harvard Business Review Press books. This one is on, so the series is called Emotional Intelligence. This one is on inclusion. So in this book, it discusses the following. Everyone deserves to feel a sense of respect and belonging, and we all want our co-workers. Again, these books are typically based around office environments, but it does apply to life in general. And we all want our co-workers to feel safe, heard, and free to be their authentic selves at work. But being an inclusive colleague doesn't always come naturally. This book will teach you how to be more empathetic, accepting, and socially aware, so you can create a more inclusive work environment, starting with yourself. And a section that I found that I think I want to focus on today is replace or with and. Replace or with and. So let's read this section, and then, as we have in the past with these sorts of things, discuss. So, moving beyond assumptions and taking into consideration what others prefer isn't about putting aside your own needs. When our preferences differ from others, it's essential to look for a solution that works for everyone involved. Take the virtual meeting scenario. This must have been earlier in the book. Your colleague prefers to have their camera off. You prefer to have yours on. That arrangement works well for both of you. It doesn't have to be their way versus your way. The more you can accommodate the preferences of the most people involved, the better. So whenever you find yourself in a seemingly or situation, take a step back and look for an and. Of course, you will at some point find yourself in a situation where compromise isn't possible. If that's the case, it's best to look for any common denominator. Denominator. You might not be able to agree on everything, but try agreeing on just one thing. Look for that small win-win. We all need to be more cognizant when making generalizations and assumptions. When we rely too heavily on our own perspectives, we miss out on the diverse and important viewpoints around us. Adopting the new golden rule will help us all feel more seen and heard. I've been having a lot going on with myself recently, and I've definitely been the all person of late. I feel like I have been very much demanding my way is the right way, demanding that I have the right of things. Demanding is for me a bit strong, but I've definitely been emotionally charged in that way, and I haven't been looking for the compromises. I haven't been looking for the times when I can help someone feel comfortable in their way of doing things. And you know what, it is so right. How many times can you go, right, we'll do this now, and we can do your thing after, or vice versa, or say, right, why don't we both do our thing for a little bit and then come back? Or just be honest and open and kind of just be real, We all have our wants, we all have our needs. They always need to be at loggerheads. Or are we assuming, I think this happens a lot, are we assuming that someone is going to react negatively before we even suggest an idea? Separate to that, at work recently we're actually restructuring the department I work in, and I've a new boss, as well as people who worked on my floor but weren't previously part of the same team and now part of the same team. So with that, things are going to change. I've written some ideas down, and I'm actually concerned that the ideas I have might not be liked by the majority. But I was thinking about this as we read that there, and any suggestions I have that someone doesn't like, does it have to be an or situation? Or could it be an and situation? Could it be we do that? Maybe, but not do the rest. You know, is that possible? Is that feasible? I think it's worth qualifying things, you know. For example, one of my suggestions is for us to kind of have a day a week where we focus on other tasks, other than the primary focus of our job. Like, give us kind of a free day where we go in and do all the stuff that we need to do background wise, rather than like the front facing part of our job, so to speak. And I don't think some people are going to like that, because I'm implying that we should stop what we're doing and down tools. But I was thinking about this as I did it, and I think it's more giving people that opportunity once a week to step away from the rigors of the original role and do the other things that they have been assigned. It's like having a free period when you were at school, or like having, you know, oh, what was that? That was something. Anyway, it's like that. It's like having a break, but not, you know, to stop working, to look at a new task, to develop other parts of what you're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have been, you know, maybe I'm just too, you know, when you're not the person who's in, and now we've got dogs barking. Anyway, when you're the person who has not been the most seasoned member of the office, let's put it that way, sometimes it's hard to kind of put those ideas forward, but sometimes you have to, because people who have been around the block don't see things the way you do. And yeah, so I'm dubious about these things at the moment, and you know, emotionally I felt a lot of these things of, am I right versus someone else? Is someone else right? Do I feel like I am the one who is being made to be the or situation? Like, because I work differently or I work more quickly, is that wrong? You know? It's a very hard line to walk, and I think a lot of people want to stay in their camp, so to speak. They prefer when things stay as they like it. They, like, you know, again, people have their preferences and they don't like deviating from those. But like, I think that's a two-way, right? I think sometimes you have to be willing and ready to deviate from your own preconceived notions if the moment arises. But at the same time, if you're hurting no one, or it's not really detrimental to the current situation, then why does it matter? And there's another dog. It's very hard to record around here of late because there seems to be a lot of dogs, and I actually record on a Sunday, and I find that, anyway, that's, you know, anyway, different video, we're moving on. I think what is hard for me is when other people don't reciprocate that. I try very hard to be mindful of other people. I try to boost them. I try to make them feel better. I might try to give them I try to like give them the boost they need, the confidence they need to do what they need to do. And like, I don't really get that back, I find a lot. And maybe that's because of my perception is different. Because that happens. But I find that often I'm told to calm it or to stop, and that's what this is talking about here, right? Inclusion is inclusion, having a set of standards and expecting everyone to not deviate from that? Or is it understanding that everyone is different and does things different ways? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I found at school that I would be quicker to finish things than other kids, and I got kind of basically persecuted for that in a way, because they would tell me to go back and do these things that the other kids were doing, and I was moving on to the next thing, and that wasn't how they wanted it done, so I got told off, essentially. You know, there's a whole sociological aspect of, like, if you don't do things the way the school wants you to do them, even if you're achieving, relatively speaking, you will actually end up getting lower grades, because the school you haven't done it to, like, the exact formula that the school wants you to do it in. And I think the workplace is the same. Oh, we do it this way. If you don't do it exactly that way, you know, we'll tell you off, basically. You must do this, you must do that. I think life would be a lot better of a place if people kind of left people to their own devices for the most part. You know, I don't think you need someone monitoring you 24/7, telling you how to do your job. And I don't think you need someone, even in the closest of friendships or relationships, who is telling you what to do all the time. And, you know, that can border on abusive as well, as we all know. I don't know. I do think that's a really good piece of advice, though. And where is it again? Let us go through it one more time. Moving beyond assumption and taking into consideration what others prefer isn't about putting aside your own needs. When our preferences differ from others, it's essential to look for a solution that works for everyone involved. Take the virtual meeting scenario. Your colleague prefers to have their camera off. You prefer to have yours on. That arrangement works well for both of you. It doesn't have to be their way versus your way. The more you can accommodate the preferences of the most people involved, the better. So whenever you find yourself in a seemingly or situation, take a step back and look for an and. Of course, you will at some point find yourself in the situation where compromise isn't possible. If that's the case, it's best to look for any common denominator. You might not be able to agree on everything, but try agreeing on just one thing. Look for that small win-win. We all need to be more cognizant when making generalizations and assumptions. When we rely too heavily on our own perspectives, we miss out on the diverse and important viewpoints around us. Adopting the new golden rule will help us all feel more seen and heard. I can only assume the new golden rule is like, you know, do unto others, that kind of thing, or otherwise it's like something in this book we obviously haven't covered in this video, but either way, everyone has a viewpoint, everyone has something to say that I think is worthwhile, generally, most people, and maybe we should try and listen to them a little bit more, and also try and make them feel better, you know. Yeah, don't absolutely negate your needs, but sometimes you can forego your needs for someone else, and I think that is the highest form of respect and decency when you do that in the right circumstance. But at the same time, it should not be all you do. You should not feel like you have to become a people pleaser to get through life. So that's a little conversation on my end about or and situations. I think it's a good one. Resonated with me when I was checking on what to do for today, for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want some more of these again, some more of these books coming back onto the channel, let me know, because I do enjoy them. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great rest, a great relaxation, a great rest of your day or night. And I'll see you soon for more. Bye guys.